Welcome back to the discussion about continuous time Fourier transform. In the previous lecture, we had seen what are the equations for continuous time Fourier transform, what is the use of continuous time Fourier transform, what is the linearity property of continuous time Fourier transform. In this lecture, we will be continuing further with our discussion, and we will study few more properties and see some numericals on these properties as well as the proofs of these properties. Now let us proceed with the second property, which is called as the time scaling property. Now time scaling can be of two types. It can be time compression, it can be time expansion. So when we are expanding or contracting a signal in the time domain, then what happens to its Fourier transforms? That this is an interesting thing. So when we time scale the signal, that is if we have x of at signal, so this a can be less than 1 or greater than 1. When a is less than 1, it leads to expansion of the signal, and when a is greater than 1, it leads to compression of the signal. This is what we have studied in the section 1 when we studied signals and their transformations. Now let us try to find out the Fourier transform of a time scaled signal. So we use the equation of Fourier transform which we had seen in the previous lecture. Now in order to solve this integration, we use the traditional substitution. Let us put p is equal to at and now compute the limits. So as t tends to infinity, what does p tend? So p also tends to infinity. So we can put up these limits, p tending to infinity minus infinity to infinity. Now in place of dt, we can take the derivative. So dp is equal to a into dt. So instead of dt, our now the variable will be dp upon a. So this is how, after doing the substitution, we have changed the variable from t to p. Now when we solve this integration further, we know that a is constant, so we can take 1 upon a outside. And now if you see this integration, now this equation shows that this is nothing but the Fourier transform of f upon a, because here the variable which was omega here, now it has been changed to f upon a. So that's why we can write this whole equation. The Fourier transform becomes 1 upon a x of f by a. Capital X indicates the Fourier transform. So what is the meaning of this? What is the meaning of this? The meaning is here. The meaning is that when you compress or expand a signal in the time domain, then the reverse thing happens in the frequency domain. That is what happens to its transform. This is very interesting thing to note, that when you try to compress a signal in the time domain, its expansion takes place in the frequency domain, and when you try to expand a signal in the time domain, its compression takes place in the frequency domain. So this week we will see by a numerical. So for this numerical, we will be using a rectangular function. What is a rectangular function? We have already seen in the unit number 1. So we can have a rectangular signal, and let us the Fourier transform of rectangular signal is what we get as a sinc function. So later in the numericals, we will find this numerical wherein we can find out the Fourier transform of a rectangular signal. We will get a sinc function. Now the purpose here is to illustrate the time scaling property. So let us draw these signals, and I will show you after drawing these signals how does this this time scaling property works. So when we are having a normal rectangular signal here, this is the Fourier transform of the signal. This means that a rectangular signal in the time domain will have a sinc representation in the frequency domain. This is very fundamental. Now this equation are the signal description of this sinc function and rectangular function. Now let us compress this signal. That is, now we are having x of t. So if we draw the signal x of 2t, so here a is greater than 2. This means that we are doing signal compression because a is greater than 1. So here the width of the signal was from minus tau by t to tau by 2. So this was the width earlier. Now our width will become half. It will be minus tau by 4 to tau by 4. So when you are compressing the signal in the time domain, what is happening to its Fourier transform? So you can see here, earlier the width of this main lobe, which was from minus tau 1 upon tau to 1 upon tau, it has now become from minus 1 minus 2 upon tau to 2 by tau. So what has happened is it has expanded. So compression in the time domain has led to expansion in the frequency domain. Similarly, the height here was a tau, but here the height has become a tau by 2. So this has led to the expansion of the signal, its height has reduced. So reverse thing happens when we expand the signal in the time domain. Now if you see x of t by 2, so this is 0.5 t. So a is less than 1. This means the signal will be expanded in the time domain. So when the signal gets expanded in the time domain, earlier the width was tau, now the width is 2 tau. So here you can see the width has increased. What will happen to the frequency domain representation? The frequency domain representation, the Fourier transform will get compressed. So expansion in time domain leads to compression in frequency domain. So when the Fourier transform gets compressed, the height has increased. So earlier the height was a tau, now it has become 2 a tau. So twice of this. So remember, this property is called as the time scaling property. So this is important. If a signal is compressed in time domain, the spectrum width is expanded, or we can say that the the frequency in frequency domain it gets expanded, and if a signal is expanded in the time domain, the spectrum width is reduced or the signal gets compressed in the frequency domain. So this is about the time scaling property of Fourier transform, which is a very important property. Let us move forward for the time shifting property. What will happen if we shift the signal in the time domain? So this shifting can be either time advancing or time delaying. Let us consider that we shift the signal, that is we delay the signal in the time domain. So I am writing here x of t minus t0. So this minus t0 indicates that the signal has been delayed in the time domain. So what has happened in the frequency domain? If you see, what has happened in the frequency domain is that when you shift the signal in the time domain, the amplitude of the frequency domain signal remains the same, but there occurs a phase shift of minus omega t0. That is, it says that when you are shifting the signal in the time domain, we are actually doing the phase shift of the signal in the frequency domain. So what changes occurs to the frequency content of the signal? Their phase changes. Okay, so this way you have to remember. So when shifting in the time domain leads to phase shift in the frequency domain. So time shifting in the time domain leads to phase shifting in the frequency domain. This is how we can remember this. So this we can prove this again by using the substitution here normally. So we are using the time shifted signal, so we can put this t minus tau 0, t0 is equal to tau. So the variable has now changed to tau, so dt becomes d tau, and our t becomes tau plus t0. When you substitute this and when you solve this, so since omega is constant, we can take e raised to minus j omega t0 outside. Our variable of interest, that is differential variable, is tau. So when you take this equation, when you see this equation is nothing but x of omega, that is the Fourier transform. So this is how, when you shift the signal in the time domain, you get the frequency spectrum multiplied by e raised to minus j omega t0 term, which is nothing but the phase shift of the signal. So whenever you are multiplying with a exponential term to the Fourier transform, you are there occurs the phase shift of those frequency components in the frequency domain. So similar properties we have also seen for Z transform, for DTFT, for DFT. So the same properties are there for all the transforms, only their notation changes in each case, because all transforms ultimately convert a time domain signal to a frequency domain signal. So whenever you are shifting the signals in the time domain, so their frequency effect on the frequencies, what effect is taking on the frequency remains the same irrespective of which transform it is. So when you study the transforms, you have to study all the properties collectively. So this was about the time shifting property of continuous time Fourier transform.